Dateline, March the 2nd, 2014. And from beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, good afternoon. This is Nick Nicolaas, and after more than 1 year hiatus, I'm restarting the what I've always done, the letter from Nick Nicolaas, from the desk of Nick Nicolaas, and what the future might bring. So we're trying to look over the horizon. I'm interested in making money and have been working on that for the last year, although 2013 in the mining business has not been the greatest year. So it behooves me at this time to spend a lot of my time trying to look over the horizon and see what the future may have in store for us. I do that, of course, always with the help of Martin Armstrong, who I have followed since the mid 80s. I'll talk about that a little more later on. I'm focusing right now my efforts especially as to what the future may bring me as it relates to the business that I'm associated with, which is the mining business. Excuse me, but so now and then I have to look at my notes to make sure that I get everything in that I want to get in this particular video. So I am recording this particular video for YouTube to insert into my From the Desk of Nick Nicolaas restarted stock alert program. And I'll start with stock alert number 1, and that letter is dated today, and I want to have it out tonight before the markets open in Europe as well as in Canada, of course, or in the United States. So here I go. If you're interested in looking at my stock alerts, you can go to my website at mininginteractive.com, and you can see there what my first stock alert is. And it's interesting. I don't say that I'm always going to be correct, but I'm invested in this particular stock, and I hope to make good profits on that. And we'll see how it all works out. But keep on following me, and after a while you will realize that I'm picking some winners where you and I can make some money. I'm invested in all of these companies that I recommend, by the way, or that I not necessarily recommend, but that I do invest in. I am, as you know, not a stock advisor or anything like that. I just tell you the investments that I'm going to be or am invested in. So my background goes way back to Amsterdam, where in the early 50s, or mid-50s rather, I worked for my uncle as a blackboard marker in the Amsterdam Stock Exchange after school when the American New York quotes came in, and I would mark those on the blackboard and then run outside and remark them again outside where people could look at them. Anyway, so I have a little bit of gray behind my eyes, and I've been actually through 5 euphoric cycles since the 80s, and every time the market would go sideways for a while or go down, and then at once there was a euphoric cycle again. And that is when I got to know Martin Armstrong in the mid-80s. And I was told by a friend of mine who had been the Postmaster General in India, and he was a stockbroker with a firm that I was working with at the time. And he said, "You've got to come and listen to this Martin Armstrong." I did, and followed him a little bit, but just on the edges, until the crash came in October of 1987. And when that crash came right on his turnaround date in his economic confidence model, which he copyrighted in 1978 already, when that came right on that date, I thought, hey, wait a minute, I better start following this guy. And I have been ever since. And with Martin Armstrong's artificial brain power, utilizing his computer, He, of course, is always looking at the cycles, and the computer, of course, takes all human emotion out of it, and the result of of the computer's thinking that Martin Armstrong then brings to us is very helpful indeed, and I strongly advise you to have a look at that. Anyway, I relate to Marty's wisdom to my own money-making interest, which of course is in the mining industry. And I do have a lot of knowledge about the mining industry, have been in it since the early 80s. And the Dow, matter of fact, I wrote about some of Marty's writing, and that was in 2010. And I also, there's still a video on YouTube, apparently under my name, Nick Nicolaas, that I did in 2010, warning about that same date. But I quote from my letter, the Dow still looks to go up into 2011. So it is viable for now. But watch out after April next year, and specifically the turnaround date of June the 13th, 2011, when things will become very dicey indeed. And like I say, it was already at that time, of course, that what happened really is that since that June 13th, 2011 turnaround date, you can see that the Dow has been going up and gold has been going down. So it's worthwhile to look at his missives and his blog specifically. He also talks right now about the riots around the world that are, of course, as we all know, against corrupt governments. And we all recognize that we've got a problem with our governments, and certain people are starting to riot against them. And gold, of course, is always a hedge against corrupt government. He talks about the cycles of war, and how that is evolving, and how these cycles of war are now helping the money flows from, for instance, from Europe, or worldwide money flows for all intents and purposes, but specifically from Europe, into what is still the main reserve currency, the U.S. dollar. And the U.S. dollar, it's the only currency today that you can still park a tremendous amount of money in. This money is not going into bonds, although some of it will be going into bonds, although they don't pay much, but a lot of it is going into stocks, and that's why you see the Dow and the S&P going up. It may, of course, adjust, which there's nothing wrong with, but going into the end of 2015, it is the view of Martin Armstrong and myself as well that you will see, because of these money flows, the Dow and the S&P go up. So, like I say, I'm trying to applying all of Marty's wisdom and his economic confidence model to my own money-making interests. And like I said, my crystal ball is focused on these small-cap mining companies, where I've in the last years made a lot of money. And this, at the moment, is a very tough market. And right now, the market is trading along and bouncing along the bottom, and until probably the end of 2015. Going along the bottom, there will be ups and downs. The low in gold may perhaps not be in as yet. I believe that it isn't as yet. But it doesn't matter. From the year 2016 on, you will be quite happy with your investments in the mining industry. And I think we then will see again one of those euphoric, kind of moving up cycles where even turkeys will fly and you will make a lot of money, but you should be invested. And right now is a good time to really look around and find your favorite companies so that you can benefit from starting from the end of 2015. In the meantime, of course, you have to do whatever stocks that I put out in my alert. You have to do your own due diligence. Never rely on what I'm saying here right now. That's for sure. Although with Marty's advice, I am being very careful, I will continue to trade and profit from this market, and while it bounces up and down. And I hope to make some money in the next years to come. For the long term, as I said before, I am quietly positioning myself with mining shares that can withstand the test of time. Those companies that have good management that you can trust. And I'll still keep my eye on 2016, and I want to be invested by that time in some good solid companies that I feel will make me many more times my investment. If you want to look at Martin Armstrong, just Google Martin Armstrong blog, and you will get to him, and just follow him on his blog, and have a look at his services that he is just starting up again. And I can tell you that at one time we were only getting faxes from him, because that was the mode of communication, and I had his fax service specifically as it related to gold and silver, and I can tell you that they were very worthwhile. At that time I didn't act on a lot of it because I was still trying to make a decision on Martin Armstrong. But now I can tell you, after all these years that I have been following him since 1985, I would say that you can rely on his knowledge, and mainly rely on his computer, his economic confidence model, his turnaround dates. I think you'll be very pleased. Well, that's it for now. I will be including this particular video in my stock alert number 1, which is on my website at mininginteractive.com. So thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, and well, as always, stay tuned. Bye for now.